Clint here at Cave Sanitary Supply, and today I want to talk to you about masks. Obviously, with the pandemic and the requirements that we have, there's been mask wearing like never before in the United States, and so we get a lot of questions from folks, what are some of the differences in masks? We stock basically 3 different kinds of masks, starting with your little blue pleated 3-ply mask, all right, N95s, and then KN95s. And so really what I want to discuss is the difference between N95s and KN95s, because I feel like I get a lot of questions on that. Pretty simple. KN95 is the Chinese standard, all right? Doesn't necessarily mean that the mask is made in China, just as the N95 doesn't mean the mask is made in the United States. It's just that standard, all right? And so a few differences you'll note right offhand. Obviously, they look a little different. But this little guy is going to go around the ears, where your N95 goes back behind the head, the straps do. Another difference that you're going to note, is that N95s fit tighter because they fit behind the head. Both of them filter 95% of particulates, and both work quite well, as I'm going to show you here in a second. So let's just start with your blue face mask. See a lot of these out here. I'm going to show you the performance of this, and one great way to test masks for performance is to do the old lighted match trick, all right? And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to put this guy on here, and we're going to light a match, and we're going to see how much air moves. The goal, obviously, is if I cough, that my breath isn't going to go out to people. So I'm trying to simulate that by blowing on it. So I put this on, and you can see that in this mask, I'm moving the flame, which ultimately is not what we want to do. So 3-plies have their place. They do a fine job, but they're not going to perform to the level of something that's going to filter 95%. So let's go into the N95. Now, one thing to note on N95s is there's a lot of counterfeits out there right now. Obviously, people take advantage of times like we're in, but one way to spot counterfeits, I'm going to show you a couple of them, all right? First of all, is N95s are going to have a NIOSH rating, all right? And one of the things you'll note on some counterfeits, they'll spell NIOSH wrong, all right? So if you ever see NIOSH on the mask and it's spelled wrong, you know that's a counterfeit. Other things that you might note is it might have an incorrect number. It might not match the manufacturer on here. So those are things to look at. For NIOSH masks, they have to have the name of the manufacturer, the model number. Some of them will even have lot codes. That doesn't have to be on there. They'll also have their registration number down here, basically, and then what level it is, if it's an N95 or the different standards, okay? So apart from actually looking at a picture on the website and saying, hey, does that match what I got? It is hard to spot a counterfeit. But that's why I do this little breath test to show, hey, is this, even if this is a counterfeit, is it working? Is it actually functioning as it needs to be? But those are just some things, all right? I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. I'm not going to talk about how to don this correctly. There's a lot of videos on that. I'm going to try to do it correctly, but there's a lot of videos on how to actually put on your N95 correctly. All right, so I'm going to put this guy on here. I'm going to tighten up my nose here, the little metal strip here, and then we'll do that same test. Light this up. I'm blowing very hard. Do this again. And it's not moving at all, which is what I would expect with an N95 with its fit. All right, we'll take this thing off. Something to note, if I was in a healthcare setting, which is where we're trying to reserve N95s for right now because they're still in short supply, I would practice hand hygiene before I put that N95 on, but the same thing when I went to take it off right before, if you're taking off your gown and all that kind of stuff, you practice hand hygiene, take it off, throw it away, and then practice hand hygiene again. Just an important note. All right, and then our last one here is the KN95. You'll note right away it doesn't fit as tight if you wear these things just because it has ear loops back here. It is a little more comfortable. Now I'm going to fit this down on my nose. Here we go. We'll do the same test. It works pretty well too. I feel like there's a little movement, and I think that movement is probably because it's escaping around my nose. All right, so that's just a little rundown of different masks and their abilities and where maybe you want to use them. Obviously, this is more of a healthcare setting. This is your everyday setting. KN95s are a little less expensive than N95s. probably, in my opinion, aren't going to be quite as good. So hopefully that gives you a little rundown. If you have any questions, we have all 3 of these in stock. We're here to be your partners for clean and safe environments. Thanks for listening.